Hello and welcome to the Tauchain video update of September. You're here with my colleagues Andre, it's the first time he's been here, Isar, Ohad and Tomash. We're going to be talking to you. This is actually going to be more of a development update more than anything, to be fair. Lots of development work happens this month, really good stuff. And also we have the Q&A at the end, so hold on for that. So without further ado, I'm going to stick it over to Ohad to talk to you about his updates.
Thank you very much, Fola, and hello everyone. On this month, Dragan finished supporting equalities and inequalities, and recently I also wrote a way to compare integers in the BDD level, and Dragan also integrated that. I finished the proof extraction component with negation, but it still doesn't support equalities and comparison of integers. It doesn't support the referencing temporary relation symbols, and it still doesn't support passing the proof for the next program, which is something that gets us much higher in complexity classes. We could then use TML not only for p-space, but also for the elementary, so-called elementary complexity class. I also finished writing basic CQC capabilities conjunctive query containment, but this still doesn't support negation and doesn't support equalities and inequalities. To support negation in CQC would be a little bit of a challenge, although it's all documented in the literature, but it is not a simple algorithm. I also implemented some CQC-related optimizations. After all, those CQC capabilities are intended to let us implement some strong optimizations, and I already implemented part of them. I still don't see a performance improvement, but it is still preliminary code with a lot of bugs. There is a lot of more work to do there. For the upcoming future, we have, after we finish this, we have main 6 things to do. The first is to support arithmetic. Arithmetic is always a problem because our reliance on BDDs, but recently I was able to come up with a way to make it easier. So we'll have to support. We can already begin supporting arithmetic, which is a very important feature. Not just for doing calculations, but even for basic things like counting. Another thing we will have to implement soon is built-ins. So TML will be able to call arbitrary C functions. It will help us a lot in other features of TML and will also enhance TML very much. We will also support compound terms, which will enhance TML's expressiveness, will open the door for Turing completeness for people interested in this. And will also open the door for easier implementations of other features of TML, which many of them are implemented using TML by translating some TML program to another equivalent TML program. So if you could use compound terms in that equivalent program, this might speed things up, not only in the running time of the program, but also in the development time. The fourth thing is self-interpreter, or at least semi-self-interpreter, which one of the smaller reasons to have this is to demonstrate TML's self-interpreting abilities. But beyond, it is like compound terms that it will help us do program transformations, and I also hope very much that it will improve performance. We will also have to support first order formulas, which are not very hard. The translation from first order formulas to BFP appears in the literature. Sixth thing, well, I said six, but we will have seven, is variable reordering in the BDDs. This is also very substantial optimization. And the last thing, the seventh thing, is to finish the tree extraction that I wrote long ago, but it needs to be rewritten such that ML programs are able to construct trees and pass it from one another. And that's it. I was also quite busy with the hiring. We are looking for another TML developer. We are also looking for a QA manager and also for UI UX developer. And that's it for now.
All right, awesome. I'm going to throw it over to Tomasz to give you his updates on what he's been working on as well.
So, hello everyone. I've updated the error handling in TML, so Alpha can run TML without exiting, and Alpha can inform users about errors and unsatisfiable programs properly. I've also created an initial version of serializing TML result into a binary payload, which is going to be stored and sent over the network. New features like tabular output and binary serialization, they work fine when executing TML over the server. But there is one last issue with binary serialization when executing TML in browser. So I'm working on that. And for the next steps, I'm going to start adding discussion features. And I expect I'll start using the networking API from Andre. So that's all for now.
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. All right, Andre, help me out. What's been going on?
Yeah, I've built a messaging server so we can exchange whatever we need through the server. For example, some files with TML. I will add encryption next week and authorization via certificate next week.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome
that's
stuff.
it.
Awesome. All right.
And then we'll wait. And then we'll move to P2P very organically. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Again, as I had said, we are hiring. You know, we've been building out this, building out the company to make sure that you guys are, as we release, we want to be working with not just, you know, really good people. We want to be working with really good companies in the space as well. I know you guys have mentioned in the Telegram chat, you know, you guys have kind of put, oh, why aren't you guys working with these guys? And why haven't you reached out to this company and that company? We're trying to build, you know, what we're doing internally to make sure that we're ready to work with those kind of companies and have the right people on board. You know, so hiring has been a really big focus over the past couple of months. As you can see, we've got Andre now, we had Dragan. Dragan will be joining us hopefully on the next call. He's a bit ill right now. But we've got two more people, as I had mentioned right now, even three maybe. Two of them are in the trial phase right now. I'm still looking for more. We have another company that we're talking to handle the logo design. Fantastic. I mean, what we're trying to do right now is really show you guys the second phase of how the project can look. You know, you've seen the initial stages of, you know, what things look like, but we're trying to take things to a completely new level now. So, you know, things are going to look more professional, and, you know, the whole design and branding of, you know, how we portray ourselves is going to look fantastic. So on the white paper side as well, that's almost finished, I believe. Got some really good writers there, so you know, hopefully we can get that to you end of by the time we have our next video update. But that's it really for now. There aren't really many updates from my end. Yeah, that'll be it. So on to the QA. So stay on. Cheers. We are going to kick off with the first question from Asin Lalov. He says, LE5 Agoras and goals and current progress towards those goals. We need a good explainer video or an easy description from Ahad outlining the project. Elaboration on the decentralized computing aspect and why Agoras is better than the competition. So essentially, Asen wants us to explain the end goal of Agoras and the current progress towards those goals, and just talk about the decentralized computing aspect and why Agoras is better than anything else that's out there.
Okay, very good. Agoras has three main aspects. One is knowledge economy, which is related to the fact that it is built on Tau, and just like the users decide how Tau would be like, they will also decide how Agoras would be like and change over time. And towards this goal, we have to finish Tau. Another part of Agoras is the derivatives market offering risk-free interest without inflation, which I wrote about also in the last blog post. This is a goal that we might implement before we finish Tau. Maybe in parallel, we begin already implementing this feature. And as you mentioned, also decentralized computing, the ability to rent computational power. Maybe we will start also early in parallel to support at least renting storage, and then we move later on to arbitrary computational resources. For your question, in what way is it better than other systems for decentralized computing? Well, one, it will be a system that is governed by its users. They can change any parameter of the system thanks to the Tau technology. And they can do this in a way that scales. It can be million users effectively reaching a decision, a practical decision. And another point is that I have a very old formula which I developed for pricing computational resources, which is an advantage over other similar projects for decentralized computing. Inaccurate pricing is actually a security risk. If your price is not accurate, then you can be exploited. People can get your computer for too cheap. And of course, it is accurate pricing is a very important part of any economical system. And that's for this question.
Soy Tico asks, will or can Tau chain be used by anyone? Or can it be only used by programmers?
This aspect is addressed very deeply in the design of Tau chain, and I refer to the component called the Internet of Languages. When Tau will start, when the alpha will start, maybe even quite soon, the only language would be TML, and TML is not very convenient, or should I say not convenient, for expressing knowledge. It is not a knowledge representation language. But because we have the component of Internet of Languages, with time, users will be able to add new languages to the system, and they will all coexist and be interoperable. So, to your question, the product that we write will not come with language support that fits everyone or almost everyone, but we leave the door open for such more and more convenient languages to come with time.
Awesome. All right. RW asks, how will Ahad allocate his time after TML and the discussion platform are launched? How much time will he dedicate to spreading the word out through conferences and interviews? Is there any conference that you would like to be in?
I will probably, well, I cannot predict, but probably after the discussion platforms is launched, I will still have to deal with the logical features that the system will provide and to implement them. How to spread the word around. This will come after we finish legal stuff and when we reach the point of time where we are ready for marketing, where we see it is the optimal point of time to do marketing. There can be many, many ways to spread the word. The best way is to make products that a lot of people need. And Tau is not the only thing that we do that a lot of people need. Everyone needs to scale discussions, but also the byproducts of what we build can be served for many, many users, like a fast database, an automated theory improver, a tool for scaling the communication in large organizations. We will do the best effort to reach to various industries and make our products and byproducts very popular there.
The next question is from Frank Telemann, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, if I'm wrong. It took Psych more than 30 years to build their knowledge base. How many users do we need to build a similar knowledge base, and how skilled do those users have to be to do that?
One important difference between Psych and Tau is that Psych intends to formalize what they call common sense knowledge. Their intention is to indeed build a knowledge base that contains many facts from everyday life or beyond. But this is not the direct goal of Tau. The direct goal of Tau is to scale discussions. The knowledge that matters for the sake of a certain discussion is the knowledge that appears in that very discussion. Moreover, on Tau, we don't really have truth, we have opinions. On Psych, the knowledge base is, you can call it God-given, but it contains a lot of undisputable facts. But on Tau, there is not such a thing. Everything is an opinion and everything can be agreed or disagreed. Psych is not, as far as I understand, is not intended to make two or more people understand each other. It's about the machine able to understand a lot of knowledge from human life. That said, after showing the differences, the relevant differences for the question between Psych and Tau, but also, as you said, it took 30 years to Psych to build their knowledge base, but how many people worked on it? I don't know, but it's probably less than thousands of people. If Tau gets, when Tau gets mass adoption for millions of people, they will be able to do it hundreds of times faster. And moreover, refining formalization of knowledge is best done via discussion. Discussion is also a tool to reach formalized knowledge faster and in a higher quality. And that's all for this question.
The next question has a URL. So I'll be putting that link in the description so you guys can check it out. And it is from Asen Lalov. And he asks, would oracles be better on Tau and Agoras? If so, why? And that reference to oracles will be in the description of this video.
I don't see any fundamental reason that oracles would be better on Tau. But of course, Tau can supply oracles. For example, if you have a user on Tau that you trust to be an expert in some field, you can automatically trust their knowledge. Although it is not approved by the whole network to trust some centralized entity, just like oracles, Tau will give the option to for such oracles to supply pure knowledge rather than just disorganized information.
So next question is from Draco. He asks, well, this is a three-parter actually. So the first part is, when will AHAD appear in Crypto Public again? Let's say a meetup, presentation, or just some kind of crypto community get together. What is the status of the ICO funds? And what is the opinion about the Omni platform for the token, which is functional and orthodox, but not user-friendly? When will it change to something better?
Well, as in the previous answer, we will have to see when is the best time to spread the word, and also the best way to spread the word. I still don't have anything final to say about this. The ICO funds are, of course, used to fast the development, to make the development faster, and also for legal expenses in the future, for marketing. Now, for the question whether we are going to change the token to something different than the Omni platform, well, of course, when Agoras will be ready, it's a coin by its own with its own chain over the Tau chain. But we do contemplate doing it earlier in order to support some features earlier, like I mentioned before, that we might have some parts of Agoras earlier before the Tau is finished, the parts that are independent of Tau. We're still not sure, we still contemplate these options. There is a lot to think about here, technically and also legally.
All right, the next question is from Ronin, and he asks, are there more purposes and incentive value cases to holding of the Agoras token than as the immediate payment system for Tau chain? Will the platform solely accept payment in Agoras? I've seen other platforms trying to implement this with their own native token, and I feel that this protocol may not be efficient for day-to-day usage, as you would have to subject yourself to a multiple-step course of making a wallet, transferring fiat into Bitcoin, sending Bitcoin to an exchange, buying Agoras, sending Agoras to the Tau chain. When will we get an Agoras tokenomics article?
As you mentioned, right now, Agoras' only function is to mark holdings in the future Agoras coins. But as I said before, we contemplate also on the points that you raised on the ease of use of Agoras. So we contemplate whether to maybe earlier to move to a dedicated coin under a design which will, of course, simplify things a lot from the user's perspective. Another point on this question, will the platform solely accept payment in Agoras? We will do a platform that works purely on Agoras. Whether users will enhance it to support other coins in the future, it is out of our control, but we will make something that supports only Agoras as payment.
We have another question from Jamie. Jamie asks, how will consensus be reached initially if users are discussing which method to find consensus?
Yeah, that's a very good question. One way is to search for a full consensus, a unanimous decision, a decision that everyone agree about. Of course, if everyone agree on something, then there is nothing else to do. Simply everyone agree. That's very simple. It will not necessarily be the case, even in early stages, for methods to reach consensus. If indeed it will not be the case, then we will have to use traditional community. We will have to refer to the community and see what they do by traditional means, by posting on forums and see, or by polls, to see how the community wants the initial rules to be.
All right, this one's from Dana. In relation to the consensus and options post, which revealed a decentralization dilemma, and in response to the recent progress on GitHub, my question for Ahad is, what are your thoughts on integrating layer 2 solutions for scalability, for example, state channels, ZK snarks, TEE, sharding, plasma, if there will be a derivatives asset exchange as mentioned?
That's a good question, and the answer is simple. I still have no thoughts. It requires a lot of thoughts and research, and I didn't reach this yet.
Thanks so much for your questions. I'm going to be posting the link to the questionnaire, the QA questionnaire, so please get your questions in for the next Q&A. And yeah, we'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.